So I want to preemptively apologise for any background noise going on. We are having work done in our kitchen, which is like right downstairs. So where I can, I'll try and edit out like the major noises, but there is going to be general kind of ruckus in the background. And I also hope that explains why I suddenly have cat food in my room, because a little man who I'm not going to pick up is living in my room for the week while the kitchen is being done, because the noises scare him when he's downstairs. So hi, my name is Bam, welcome back to my channel. Hopefully my voice isn't too drowned out by the noises in the background, because I am gonna have to turn myself up because there are just random strangers in my house, and it's a little bit awkward to film. However, last week I didn't have any chances to film this video, so I'm doing it the day before I'm supposed to upload it, because I really want to maintain like my weekly schedule that I've had going, because I've been really proud of being able to kind of do that a lot. So I'm trying to kind of keep on top of it. For those who didn't watch last week's video, it was an introduction to my journals, because I'll talk about it more in a minute, but I have plans for the channel going forward. Yeah, this is the intro to my November reset. It's been a month already since I kind of came back, which is wild, and I wanted to start off with my life updates, and then we'll go into kind of more general stuff. So, life updates. Aside from the kitchen being done, which means all new kitchen going into November and for Christmas, which will be really nice. We've had the same kitchen in this house for like 25 years. It's a very old room, and we're finally getting it redone because my parents have been like saving up for it, and I think my grandma helped pay for it as well. But new kitchen, which will be really nice. I'm going to try and get into baking when the new one has come in, and I also want to try and get into drinking smoothies. So that's like some general stuff. I don't know if I'll film too much of my baking because it will be like downstairs where the rest of my family is, but don't know. My parents know that I film these YouTube videos, so they might let me, who knows. But otherwise, the main kind of life updates will be about my job. So yeah, obviously in the October reset, I had just started my new job, and now we're about a month in, and I should hopefully get my first paycheck tomorrow. So that's kind of wild. That's really exciting. And I think general consensus is I'm settling. My supervisor, I had a shift with my supervisor yesterday, and she like was pretty happy with me and everything. And I think I will have like some other like meetings and things with like managers and stuff, just to kind of like relay how I've been getting on, get feedback and stuff, and that will be really good. But generally speaking, I think I've been okay. It took a few weeks for me to kind of feel like properly settled, which is obviously normal and everything. I did have a lot of like new job anxiety in the first couple of weeks that was pretty bad, and even still now my anxiety is still kind of like high, and I think it's just because I'm quite tired a lot, and I like my sleep levels are kind of different, but I have been sleeping better because I've been tired more. But like generally speaking, I have a lot more anxiety than I have in a while, but I'm hoping that that will settle eventually and I will just kind of like mellow out. And my physical health, which is a big thing, I think, because I do have like long COVID and joint issues and like chronic fatigue, brain fog, etc. I am kind of going through as many avenues as I can to make as many people like aware of my health things as possible, and thankfully my supervisors and stuff have been really understanding with it, and it's made me feel like quite comfortable being able to kind of talk to them about that stuff. But you know, I've had some weeks where I've just been in a lot of pain. I did last week I did like a 6-day run, and then I only got like 1 day off because my days off were split, because I get 2 a week and usually they're together, but the last couple of weeks they've been split. So I have been like a bit more kind of in pain than usual. My wrists have kind of been in their supports a little bit, and like my knees have kind of like done their thing, but I've been like walking more, and kind of like trying to stand a bit more and get my stamina back. So it's been okay. I think I've kind of reached a middle ground at the moment. I'm kind of seeing how it's going to develop, and I'm trying to kind of keep track of like my long COVID symptoms and things for when I finally get back to a doctor's, because I haven't been to one since January. But I'm really hoping that at some point I can kind of give an update, and maybe we can kind of get some stuff rolling in regards to kind of helping me like manage a lot of stuff, because so far a lot of things with me have been, I've been handed diagnoses and then kind of left to my own devices, which hasn't exactly been helpful. So I'm hoping, if needs be, or if there is anything that can be done, then I can get that stuff moving, but I'm not sure that's going to happen until the new year at this point. I'm gonna kind of like get stuff started where I can, but it might be a new year thing that like I'm having a lot more doctor's appointments and things like that. So that'll be kind of like more updating things that will go along through my vlogs and like these reset videos and everything. But yeah, generally speaking, I think I'm adjusting well, and I'm sure the pay will help with feeling like it's worth it. And it will be kind of really nice to have a bit more kind of disposable income at the moment, because obviously I am living with my parents and I do pay my parents rent, I do, but aside from that, like everything that I get outside of like taxes and my pension and stuff will go straight to me, which will be really nice. Generally speaking, my first paycheck I am probably going to spend a lot of, because it's my first one of a new job, and I kind of want to buy some like another kind of stock of like journaling stuff, just like stickers and labels and like ephemera and things like that, just to kind of give me more stuff to play with, I think. And yeah, so those are my life updates. I do apologize if I sound a bit croaky. I recently visited my friend, my old flatmate who I lived with during 2nd and 3rd year. I went to visit her last week, and she has a dog, a very lovely dog named Oscar, who's a sweetheart, but I am allergic to dogs, so I kind of I was sneezing a lot when I was at her place. I was sneezing a lot when I got home, and I've kind of had like a sore throat for the past couple of days since I got back. I've been trying to drink as much water as I can. At the moment our water's been shut off because of the people doing work in our kitchen, so I can't get water at the moment, so I might have to dash and get like a bottle or something from Tesco. We'll see if my parents have any, but yeah, for this week's video and probably next week I'm gonna sound a bit ill. I'm not particularly ill, I just, you know, prolonged allergic reaction to a doggy, but it was worth it. Oscar was lovely, I loved him. But yeah, so that's my life updates. And then I have yet to set up my November spreads in my reading journal, so I'm kind of gonna do a bit of bit of b-roll and stuff like that, just for vibes, to give yourself a break from listening to me and my gross voice at the moment, and just I will then do a brief wrap up of the books that I've read this month. You've seen it, and kind of give my TBR and like my plans for going into November, and then show off the spreads that I've done. So let's move on to that, and I will give you a breather from this. apologies for the change in lighting. I kind of did a bunch of little things earlier, and then it got dark, and it's like 5 p.m. and it's also chucking it down outside, like absolutely pouring. So it's very dim, it's very dark, but I'm now prepared to do my little flip through, show off what I did for November, and then show off what I made in October, and talk about the book that I read, slash books, kind of. Apologies for the shakes. I have tried to set this up as neatly as possible, but here we are. So this is October, as we can see. I did read one book. Anybody who's watched my videos this month will know that. I did stick a second one in because I was hopeful that I would read at least a second book, and yes, I still have 2 days left, but the book that I'm currently reading I still have like 300 pages left for, and unless I suddenly hit like a stride, that is not happening. It might. I'm gonna try and get myself to read tonight and then after my shift tomorrow, but we will see. I had a really good start to the month with reading, but like the second or third week in, I kind of hit a rut, I think because the book that I was reading was quite slow, and I talked about that in my reading vlogs and everything, and I went like a week and a half not reading anything, and I've only kind of just sort of like read pages here and there, and I think that's just kind of, it's typical really. And also the week that I didn't read, I was working mostly late, so I was, you know, I was waking up later and I felt like I had less time in the morning, so I didn't really kind of like push myself to read anything. And at the same time, I've not been watching, I have a lot of like videos to catch up on from like the booktubers that I watch, so I haven't had anybody to like body double either, which is a term I learned recently that makes a lot of things make a lot of sense. So yeah, I'm hoping this week, potentially, maybe next week, I can film another reading vlog. I'm not sure. It kind of entirely depends on the state of things this week, and kind of what I have motivation to do with my work shifts, and then work being done in the house and having strangers and it all being a bit freaky. But yeah, so this was my October sort of title page, books read kind of pages. I quite like it. It's very simple, very like monochrome, which is nice. And then we flip over, we kind of have my days read page, which, you know, kind of showcases the week and a half I didn't read. Like I said, I still have today and tomorrow to kind of read a bit more and maybe get a little bit further so that I can at least start November finishing the book that I'm currently reading. I had my TBR. This one was added after I'd finished Cities of Smoke and Starlight, which was the book that I read this month. I kind of popped my favourite quote in here, and yeah, I didn't end up getting to the rest of these, but that's fine. I very much kind of do my TBRs very loosely and lightly. I use TBR very kind of like throwaway. It's very much just like, I might want to read these, but I might not. So then we get on to the book that I did read, which was Cities of Smoke and Starlight. I actually quite like this spread. I think the only thing that kind of throws me off is the title, because I did do one title and then I absolutely hated it, so I covered it up and did another one that is not quite as bad, but also isn't like perfect. So kind of showing off like the details and stuff. I kind of broke into my newer kind of washi tapes and things. I really, really like this sort of like burnt paper effect on one of the tapes, which was, I think was from the Notebook Therapy like Lovelock collection. So this book I talked kind of at length in the first reading vlog that I did back, so I'll kind of like link that in like the iCard, which might be on this side, I'm not entirely sure. And yeah, so to kind of go into vague detail, I gave it 4 stars, 4.5. I accidentally coloured in all 5, but it was 4.5. and I really, really enjoyed it, which I think is why I kind of hit a rut so soon with the sequel, which is Realms of Wrath and Ruin, which is what I'm reading currently, because it is a lot slower than this one. I think I saw some reviews on Storygraph say that this one was paced slowly, but I didn't see it that way. I very much got into it really easily and had kind of like a lot of the action played out. Kind of like it was well paced. I think there were slower moments, but overall, like, it was kind of quick, at least from my perspective, but I did read it in a day, so for other people it's probably quite a lot different. But yeah, I as I said in my reading vlog, I kind of got a lot of like vibes from this book that I had in a lot of other media that I really like Uncharted, and I think that's kind of what made me really kind of like attached to what was going on and kind of really enjoy what I was reading. And I have been quite generous, and I have left myself an open double page on the off chance that I finish Realms of Wrath and Ruin. And if I do, I will insert, if I do before this video goes out at 6 o'clock tomorrow, I will insert like a picture or something of what spread I made. But Realms of Wrath and Ruin, currently I am about 60% of the way through, so I don't think I'm gonna get through it today or tomorrow unless I genuinely just binge read it, which I'm not sure will happen because, like I said, it is a lot slower than the first book. But that also might just be kind of my experience with the time that I've had to read it. And I've enjoyed it a little bit less, I think. There's a lot more going on, but so much so that like you kind of forget a lot of major plot points that are introduced in the early pages. Like, I was going back through my annotations and I like found some like quotes that I highlighted about like plot and world building related things that I had completely forgotten about because they haven't been mentioned again. And I'm like, I don't know what kind of like has happened like in this, but it just kind of feels like so much is trying to happen that like nothing is progressing, and kind of not enough aspects are being expanded upon in the way that I feel like they should be. So currently, because I enjoy the characters, the book is kind of sitting at a 3-star. If the plot picks up, it's likely that it'll be upped to like 3.5, maybe 4, but if it kind of remains pretty like stagnant, or I don't enjoy the plot that I read, it might go down to a 2.5, which I don't want to happen because I did really, really love the first one. And I do want to continue this series into the third one whenever that comes out. But currently, I'm not enjoying this sequel quite as much as I did the first one. And that's my general consensus and update on that, which I want to finish before the end of October, but probably won't happen. So it will probably be the first sort of spread that I do in November, or I might just pop it in here and just add the reading dates just so I don't waste pages, but we'll see. So then we get on to my November spreads, which I kind of went with like an academia aesthetic with orange kind of accents, because November for me equals Bonfire Night, which means fire and orange. So here we are. Originally this title was supposed to go through here, but I kind of did it wrong, and then I just kind of filled the rest of the page out. But you know, it's okay. It's not perfect, but it's, you know, it's not perfect. It's kind of messy, but it's also kind of okay. I don't completely hate it, which is a good thing. I added a couple of little stamp accents here and there just to kind of fill out a little bit of empty space, and I stuck in kind of this big sort of like picture and this like washi sort of sticker to fill out this little book's the reads page here. And then we kind of move on to like my days read and kind of the same sort of TBR quote sort of setup that I had before. So as we can see, I made the TBR box a lot smaller, kind of to anticipate me not reading as much as like I thought I was going to, but also kind of just sort of leaving room for like 3 reads that I might want to read I carried over Only a Monster from last month, and then Off the Hook by Julie Olivia came out recently, and I did enjoy the first book that I read of her, which was All Downhill With You, and I do need to finish The Fiction Between Us, but this is kind of part of a new like series, like standalone series, and I want to read it, so I do have it on Kindle Unlimited on my Kindle, and I do plan to read it, but obviously I want to finish my current read, and then Only a Monster will be the physical read I pick up if I finish either The Fiction Between Us or Pegasus and the Flame, which are up on my shelf at the moment. But as we can see here, I did something slightly different for my Days Read page. We have like this little key and this kind of thing down here. So basically, I recently saw, when looking for kind of like inspiration, I kind of saw like a calendar layout with like the progression of reading. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like a calendar with like highlights through the days about what books were being read, and I kind of wanted to do that, but I didn't know how to do it, so I just kind of have integrated it into my Days Read spread. Basically, in these squares, which in October I obviously coloured in just grey to mark the days that I read, I'm actually going to be colouring in with like stripes of colour or just whole colours to kind of mark what books I'm reading on what days. And I've got this key up here just to kind of like, as soon as I've picked a colour, I can colour it in there and kind of denote it. And I will probably try and stick to a relatively kind of matching colour scheme with the rest of kind of like the spreads, just to kind of keep it within theme and it not being too overly colourful. But we have a lot of colours to play with, and I'm not likely to be reading more than 2 or 3 books in the month, so that should be fine. That's kind of what we're working with. So that's my wrap up. Those are my spreads. We have loads of empty pages to continue filling up in this, and I will lead into whatever comes next. So angle is probably slightly different now because I have one phone holder and I had to shift it between my desk and over there, so we might be further back than we were before. I do apologise. So last segment of this little reset, you get stuck with my voice again, is actually channel updates and content plans and things like that, because I wanted to kind of keep you guys in the loop about where my thought process is and kind of what I want to do with this channel, because it is, as much as it is my creative outlet, it is also your entertainment, and I want to make sure that I'm doing stuff that is fulfilling to me and resonates with you guys. So I kind of want to put my ideas out there and kind of see what you guys think. So do leave comments if you feel drawn to a particular type of video that I want to do, or if you'd be interested in anything, or if you kind of have particular structures and stuff like that for the content that you watch. I will keep, you know, doing things the way that I do them, but generally speaking, this is kind of just putting ideas into the pool and seeing what happens. So going forward, I did mention it in the video that I uploaded last week about my journals, but I do want to do more journaling content. Obviously, if you didn't watch that video and you did watch my October reset, I did say that I wasn't going to be showing too much of like my setup and stuff for like my reading journal, but I do have other journals. I would highly recommend that you go back and watch my introduction to my journaling collection video, just to kind of get a feel for what I might be doing come the new year, and kind of other things that you might see from me. But effectively, I kind of want to add journal with me videos to the lineup. I find them really helpful for me when I need the motivation to kind of like actually pull out my journals and do stuff. As I mentioned in kind of my flip through for my reading journal, I recently learned about like body doubling as a term, and it's kind of something that makes a lot of sense for me, because it's something I do. I have ADHD, I'm autistic. It's kind of something that helps me feel motivation to do things that I do enjoy. I just find it difficult to actually break out of like that kind of paralysis of executive dysfunction, effectively. So yeah, I kind of want to add like journal with me's, and obviously like flip throughs come like me actually filling out a journal. So at the end of this year, sort of like the tail end of December, I will be doing a flip through of my reading journal, because I am moving into a new one, which I did also kind of show in my previous video. And I am moving into a new journal for 2024 for like my life journaling stuff, but there are a few things in there that I can like show and film videos with, that I might do. But yeah, so journal content I'm hoping to kind of add as a slightly regular-ish thing to my channel, and I also want to kind of start posting my spreads and stuff on my Instagram as well, which will be linked in the description, but you can also just find me at bookishbambi. I need to post more on there, but I'm kind of zeroed in on like my YouTube at the moment, and I kind of only go on my Instagram to like post reviews. But yeah, that's kind of like one thing, and kind of branching off of that is sort of other body doubling style videos, so like write with me videos and read with me videos, which could potentially be just half an hour of me typing away or reading in like usually physical book, maybe annotating and stuff like that, and either with music or without, depending on what you guys kind of want. But I find sort of those videos helpful for me, and I do want to put them out there, because it is also an option for me if I'm having a pretty like busy week because of my, you know, full-time job. It's kind of another option for me to get content to you, because it's just a half an hour of like an evening or a morning that I can just kind of film pretty easily and like edit here and there, to kind of just put out for you, so I don't kind of feel like I'm falling behind on my content, and I don't kind of hit that stride of like not uploading for a couple of weeks because I've been busy and just kind of like losing the motivation to do it, you know. I found with my job I've felt a lot more motivation to create content. I think it's because I have a lot more of like a work-life divide than I did when I was in uni, because kind of that academic brain, you never really get a break from needing to do stuff. So I have just felt a lot more motivation to create and to film and to journal and play games and just kind of do everything that I had such a massive rut for when I was at uni, especially during like really heavy times. It just kind of felt like I couldn't do anything without kind of feeling guilty for it, because when I'm not at work, I don't have to worry about my job. I'm not answering emails, I'm not doing anything, I'm not touching anything related to my job when I'm at home. So I kind of have a lot more space to be creative and kind of do this stuff for you, and that's really good. I really like feeling that way, and I really like filming and creating, and it's really nice, and I want to maintain it, and I want to maintain uploading weekly and doing that for me and for you. So yeah, body doubling videos, a concept, how do we feel, how do we think, opinions. Obviously reading vlogs will continue. They really motivate me to read, and hopefully they motivate you to read, and I'm very, very open about being the slowest reader on planet Earth, and you know, I'm very open about like my reading ruts, and you know, when I just don't read because I don't have the energy and I don't have time, and I want to, you know, keep that authenticity but also kind of challenge myself to read more, but not so much that I'm not actually like taking in everything I'm reading. Like, I'm never going to be one of those people that reads 100 books in a year, because I feel like if I did that, I wouldn't actually take in any of the books that I read. I feel like there needs to be kind of like, at max, like 5 to 7 books in a month, but that is like dramatic. I'm like, 4 would be good, because 4 would be that I read a book a week. Like that I feel like is my end goal, but going into 2024, I'm probably going to keep my reading goal to 24, because I'm not going to reach that by the end of this year, because that was my goal for this year, because I read 12 books last year. So I'm going to kind of keep that as my 2024 goal. and try and get that like 2 books a month down, so then I can like double it again and do the 4 books a month, and then kind of maybe settle on that as my main goal. But that's way in the future stuff, really. But yeah, so reading vlogs will continue, and then because again, with that kind of work-life separation, I really want to do writing content. I've mentioned it before and I really want to commit to it. I have books in the works that I want to actually kind of get written and start figuring out where to put them kind of in the future, but you know, I need to go through the processes of like outlining them and actually drafting them. I've been doing a lot of brainstorming through like Discord friends and things like that, and I have a lot of base stuff going on. It's just I actually need to figure out how all of my plot points connect and what I'm doing with them. So writing vlogs will likely become a thing. I don't know if that's going to become a thing in November or if that is going to be a New Year thing, but I would very much like for me to at least finish the outline for my first fantasy, by the end of the year, so I can start drafting it next year. But again, that's really lofty goals, because knowing me and my motivation levels, that is going to fluctuate. But I want to get kind of some more stuff in. I'm kind of thinking of getting some like memo cards to kind of timeline on this empty wall here. But yeah, I want to add writing vlogs, write with me's, just writing content, because I want to connect with you guys as an author and not just someone who like reviews books or does journaling, because writing is like something that I've been doing since I was like 5, and it's one of those things that like definitely started as a hyperfixation and a special interest, and it has genuinely lasted my entire life, and very few things do that. As someone, you know, with ADHD and everything, like, guess whose phone stopped recording? And she didn't realise until she'd finished and ended the video. I lost my entire writing segment and I'm so angry. It's fine. Anyway, so as I was saying, I want to do writing content because yeah, writing has been something that's been part of my life for a really long time, and I really want to kind of fully realise being an actual published author, because I think I would cry, and I don't cry very often. But yeah, I have 2 projects kind of sitting in my bank at the moment. They both have code names, which I will share now, because why the hell not? We have Riverman, which is a literary fiction novel set in a post-apocalyptic world with magical realism involved and an unreliable child narrator. There are themes of childhood and growing up in kind of risky, dangerous environments and kind of stuff like that. There's found family in it. It's all very theme heavy. And then we have Seafarers, which is my fantasy trilogy that focuses heavily on having disabled representation, from like physical disabilities to like neurodivergencies and invisible disabilities, and it's not a Little Mermaid retelling, but the Little Mermaid is kind of part of the base lore of things going on in the world. So yes, Seafarers is the one that I'm kind of mainly focusing on at the moment, because it just kind of appeals to me more, and I have a lot more plot going into this one. Plot and like the only things that I really need to develop are kind of like the characters more. I have kind of my main duo, because there is like romance through the trilogy, but yeah, I have a lot of like plot points and the massive like overarching plot, but the actual kind of like plots through the individual books, you've got me. Honestly, I need to figure that out. So Seafarers is the one that I kind of want to focus on first, and then Riverman is just kind of something that might pop up here and there. I've had the concept for Riverman for longer, but it's gone through many iterations until finally kind of settling on what I've got at the moment. But both of those ideas are kind of in the bank at the moment. If either of them are of interest, do let me know. But yeah, I kind of want to film writing vlogs to start kind of getting the ball rolling on writing them, really. I don't really know what I'm going to do after I've written them, because I don't know how any of that works. But I just need to get them written first, to be honest. So yeah, that is kind of my plans for the channel going forward, and that is my November reset all done. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to stick around, if I'm interesting enough for that. And I'm sorry if I kind of breezed through the writing content section of this bit. I wanted to kind of talk about it more, but I did lose all of the footage of me talking in the first place, and I kind of forgot everything I said. So I reiterated what I remembered, and I hope that wasn't too kind of jarring for you. I do believe I get to go eat dinner now, so I'm gonna go do that, and I will see you in the next video, whatever that may be. Bye!